So when I meet someone and I work with someone that loses, 50, 100 pounds, and they're basically overcoming this food addiction, so to speak, and they're changing their behaviors, and they're working so hard, like they're literally every day, they're fighting to switch their mindset. It's so rewarding and it's so inspiring because it's like I helped you, but you also helped me.
Excited to have Maryann join us this morning. Maryann Walsh, Nutrition Consulting. Look forward to hearing a little bit about your story and sharing with our audience. To get started, if you would just tell everybody where you're from, where you grew up, and a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I am, again, Maryann Walsh, a registered dietitian, and I grew up in Rhode Island. So I'm from the Northeast, came down to Florida about 5 years ago. And my background, I went to college I have a degree in biology, a degree in nutrition, and then a master's degree in nutrition, and then, of course, the registered dietitian credential. And just really always been, throughout my life, now I'm in my early 30s, just immersed in love for nutrition and the whole behavioral aspect as well as the science of nutrition. So I feel very fortunate, as I'm sure you do, to get to really do what you love every day.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
So when did that start for you?
So it's funny, I had to talk about this story a couple of weeks ago, and it was the first time I ever really sort of really tried to put it into and make sense of why I got into nutrition as a child. So my parents were getting divorced when I was younger, about 12, 13 years old. And it was just this tumultuous time. My mom was with this very awful man that she left my dad for. So I lived with my dad because we were just afraid of this evil stepdad, so to speak. And so I just immersed myself in being obsessed with food and nutrition, but not in a bad way. A lot of times when young girls, especially, and young guys, but young girls are going through a difficult time, they get obsessed with food, but in a bad way, and go down the road of eating disorders and things like that. I got obsessed in it from just wanting to learn more and wanting to have control over this aspect of my life that I could have control over. Because again, when you're a preteen teenager and you're going through these tough times, you don't really know what to do with your emotions. And so for me, it was like, okay, I love cooking, and my dad would watch the Food Network, and that was what we'd do together. We'd watch the Food Network. There was this Food Network's, I don't know what you'd call them, not a star, but one of the hosts on the Food Network, Alton Brown, and he had this great show called Good Eats, and it was all about food science and why foods do different things they do, and why when you bake cakes, different ingredients do what they do. And so I just became really obsessed with it. And then when it came time to sort of go to college and figure out what I wanted to study in college, I started in science and in the business field, but then I couldn't get this nagging urge to study nutrition out of my head. So that's kind of where it all started, and then one thing led to another.
So as soon as you went to college, as soon as college was done, what was the next step for you? What was your next?
So I finished grad school I was 27, so it was 2012. And right after that, I was still in Rhode Island, and I started right away in private practice. And so I would see clients that would get referred to me from different doctors' offices in the area in Rhode Island. And that was a great learning experience because it's being thrown right into private practice. You're dealing with so many different personality types, different socioeconomic status, different demographics, and just learning about all different types of people and all different... I saw everyone from people with eating disorders to people with GI issues to people who, general weight loss. And it was just a great learning experience. After that, I went into more of a business development sort of consulting role with a tech startup that was based out of Arizona. And from there, I realized that I love to combine, I love business, like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to sort of combine the two worlds, like my love of nutrition, but also my love of business. One thing led to another. I moved down here, and then a couple years ago, about 3 years ago, I just went into consulting, and I've been doing that ever since, and seeing some private concierge clients on the side here in the Palm Beach area.
Mm-hmm. So tell me about, starting consulting your own business, how that was like, what that felt like, can you start with that?
Yeah, so, it's a little bit less of a risk, I think, than starting a product driven business, but I definitely sort of had to wean out off of a traditional job. At the time, I was doing medical sales, and I was selling tube feeds and wound vacs, which, not to get into too much detail, but obviously tube feeds are when people need to be on medical nutrition therapy, and then wound vacs are for people that burns and things like that. And so I had a lot of flexibility with that job. And so, as long as you kind of hit your numbers, you're not it's not a traditional 9 to 5. So as a result, I was meeting doctors, and they were like, "Oh, so you're in medical sales, but you're a dietitian. Do you ever see clients?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do actually." And so after hours, after 5:30, whatever, when I was done with my day, I would see clients, and then one thing led to another until the point where I could finally, financially break away from the full-time job. And then from there, that led to other consulting opportunities. As you know, I work with Slim Fast, and then their parent company Glambia, and then from there, I've also worked with some great companies on a smaller level, like Breyer's Ice Cream and Zevia, and a couple of other little companies. So it's been really fun, and every different brand and every company comes with, you learn so much from each little different interaction and experience. Even learning about, your business is so different from some of the other businesses that I worked for, and it's just really cool to kind of see in this nutrition space all the different types of businesses there are, and also different ways that people are being helped to deliver more nutritious, healthy lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Definitely very competitive space. What's some tough challenges or experiences, struggles that you want to share as far as starting your own consulting business?
Just the fact that it's sort of, and as you know, in any business, nothing's guaranteed, and things could end tomorrow. And you kind of have to always have that in the back of your mind, and you have to be like, okay, well, I'm not a traditional 9 to 5 employee at a job, which, again, you could be fired from a job any day. But in the position where you're your own boss, you kind of have to be like, okay, I need to be practical and smart with my money, and realize that there might be months where my income is not the same as it normally is, things like that. But also just having the discipline to really get up and show up for yourself and for your clients and whomever you're working with every day, because that's what's going to keep you constantly busy with business, and then referrals and new business and people reaching out to you for more and more. So that, to me, the biggest challenge, I guess I wouldn't really call it too much of a challenge, but for people that want to kind of work for themselves and not have the traditional 9 to 5, you really need to have that discipline.
Right.
You have to set your alarm every morning as if you are going to show up to an 8:30 or 9 to 5 job, and you have to show up for yourself.
Absolutely. Discipline's, so important, and if you're going to make it in business, and like you just said, showing up every single day, having an alarm clock, whatever it is, having a set schedule and sticking to it. And I think that's so many people struggles when they become an entrepreneur or get into business for themselves. They don't even know what to do sometimes. They just kind of float through, and that's why I think we provide such a great path for people, is we actually can structure to get people on the right path. So besides discipline, which is, you hit it spot on, you have to have discipline. It's leading yourself, self-discipline. What else do you think is critical to being traits or habits that you have to be an entrepreneur?
One thing that I've learned recently, especially, is finding and trusting in the right mentors. I think, and investing in them if you need to. I think at first, especially, depending on, I grew up in a very, I don't want to say we weren't poor, but we were not well off at all. So money, the idea of money was you hold on to it, and you treat it like it is a precious thing, but you treat it like you hold on to it as tight as you possibly can. And whereas if you want to grow in a business, you have to learn that money is sort of this it's a unit of energy, so to speak, that you're kind of transferring, and you need to be able to realize that sometimes you need to invest in proper mentors, or invest in situations where you are going to be in a proper situation to be mentored, like you're saying, what you provide for your members of the FIT team. Basically, if you're providing them mentorship, they can grow. But also, just being teachable and realizing that you don't know everything, and you're not going to know everything, and you need to trust in other people, and you need to be humble and not have an ego. I think a lot of times people's ego is what gets them in trouble when it comes to business.
Absolutely. Two great things there. Invest in your business, which most people just, for whatever reason, like you said, they're maybe just from their program that way, but they hang on to it. And you have to continue to invest back in your business to grow your business. And then the second thing is as you just said, is it's vital, is being coachable, being humble, and being able to learn more, because if you don't learn more, you're not going to grow more. So great points.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what goals do you have going forward? What's some things that you're looking forward to in the future?
I feel like I have so much to look forward to. It's hard to explain. It's just the past couple years have been so amazing, and one thing has been leading to another. And it's like a month from now, like something could be completely different, and that I didn't even know was going to happen. So as far as goals, I want to just keep growing in my business and keep, keep building relationships and keep really just putting myself out there. And with that being said, putting myself out there more and not being so, I have a tendency, even though I've done like quite a few things now with media and on camera things, I have a tendency to still be this like shy girl inside. And so I think that's a goal, to just kind of keep challenging myself and putting myself out there. And and that's how you grow personally, but that's also how your business grows, because the more and more you can be vulnerable and connect with people and talk about your personal story with people, the more and more they're gonna relate to you. And like speaking about investing in your business and investing in yourself, I actually just recently, like a couple of weeks ago, invested in this coach based out of California that is teaching me, sort of, so to speak, how to talk more about like my past and just my life, and to connect more and not hold back, because that's how you connect with your consumer. That's how you connect with business associates and build relationships.
Absolutely. So we'll switch gears just a little bit, and we'll get into nutrition. Obviously, you have a passion for it, and what do you want to discuss regarding healthy lifestyle nutrition for someone that's just getting started? They decide today, I want to do better.
Yeah. So one of the biggest things that I always say is to, whether you're someone that's coaching someone on a nutritious, healthier lifestyle, or whether you're someone that's like wanting to start a healthier lifestyle, is to kind of figure out what works best for you. Like, yourself better than anyone else. And so if you're obsessed with particular foods, and your lifestyle is, every Sunday you have to get together for Sunday dinner because your grandmother cooks this big dinner, then maybe like a ketogenic lifestyle might not be specifically for you. But maybe a lower carb or a lower calorie lifestyle might be for you. If you're someone who loves, bacon and steak and cheese and all those types of foods, maybe trying a ketogenic lifestyle would make more sense for you. If you're someone who, and I'm just using keto as an example because it's obviously like it's a very trendy, it's hot, the diet's very hot right now. And also when it comes to exercise, I think it's great to push yourself and to push your boundaries, just like it is in business. If you are someone who doesn't love to go to a gym and you try it and it's just not your thing, that doesn't mean like just don't exercise. Like, find things that work for you and that fit into your lifestyle. And that's what I've found with a lot of people, is if they don't want to necessarily join a gym, or they don't like the feel of a gym, then they can do some home workouts, or they can go for a walk every day, or they can get like a fitness tracker like the one I'm wearing, and just incorporate things like that. So it's about finding a plan and a regimen that's gonna push you and challenge you, but also that's realistic for you and your lifestyle, and always reassessing, because if you are a month in and you're just like, this is just not working for me, then don't give up, reassess, and figure out what might work for you.
Right. It's some great advice, some great tips. be realistic and reassess. Something that I think can help improve results is having an accountability partner or somebody you
Yes.
share your goals with, or whatever it is that you're looking at doing. If you would speak on that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that's crucial. Some people are very I'm not speaking from a weight loss standpoint, but even from like a personal goal standpoint. I'm someone who I like to work in silence, and I like to not necessarily talk about things until they actually like are out there and like, look what I did, yay. But because for fear of like if things fall through or whatever. And I have a lot of clients that are like that, like they don't want to talk about their journey with other people. They just want to keep it a secret. But from what I've seen with working with, you know, the brands I've talked about and with working with certain clients, they thrive in environments where they're getting support from groups. As I mentioned, I think, I don't know if we had talked about this before, but in the past, but my work with SlimFast, we have these two major Facebook groups. And there's like 20,000 people in one of them, and there's 20,000 people in another one. And I see these people that just thrive on this support from people they don't even know, people hundreds of miles away, and they thrive on this accountability. And I think it really can be a major success factor for a lot of people. And I think too, as a dietitian, when people want to work with me, I think a lot of times people know what to do, especially in this area where we live in Palm Beach County. There's a lot of, smart people with lots of resources, and they know where to get information. There's no limits to how many, weight loss clinics there are around here and things like that. But they want one-on-one attention, and they want someone to kind of like, coach them and hold their hand through it. So I absolutely think that that accountability is so important, and I think the culture that you've created, I think is probably why you have so many amazing success stories, 100 pounds plus loss, because it really is people working together as a team and having that accountability, especially, and also the business aspect of FITTEAM as well.
Thank you. So let's talk about health and nutrition. So two different things. How important is it that, and this is probably going to be a question you get asked all the time, how important is it to eat right if you're looking to transform your body?
Yeah, so I like to say like 80-20. I like to say like nutrition is about 80%, fitness is about 20%. People that are more people like a personal trainer or an exercise physiologist might say it's more like 30%. But yeah, so you're looking at like 70 to 80% food. Like you really need to focus on the food. You could drive yourself crazy going to the gym like every day, running on the treadmill for an hour. But if your nutrition is not on point, you're not going to see results. And at the end of the day, regardless of what you hear, it comes down to a calorie deficit. If someone wants to lose weight, it comes down to a calorie deficit. And if someone wants to change their physique, it comes down to the nutrition combined with the exercise. The exercise is going to burn calories, but you also want to incorporate strength training. Again, even if you don't want to go to a gym, just get some resistance bands and do some things at home. Get some dumbbells at home, and just do some resistance exercise, because the building that lean muscle mass makes your metabolism more active too. So it really is. You need to have both, but the nutrition piece, I always say 70 to 80%.
Absolutely. So someone looking to get started, they want to be a nutritionist or a dietitian. What advice do you have for them?
So I think when I started on my educational journey, like over 10 years ago, the world was so different than it is now. There's so much information out there now, and you can definitely be successful in nutrition and the fitness and nutrition world without having the formal education. You need to be a little bit more entrepreneurial and business savvy, but you can totally have a career in nutrition and fitness without necessarily having the formal credentials. What I love about having the formal credentials is that it gives me credibility, even if someone doesn't initially know the difference between, the term nutritionist is not a legally protected term. So someone with no formal education could technically call themselves a nutritionist. The state of Florida has protections over nutrition counseling, so to speak, because you have to be a dietitian to give formal meal plans. But there's other states that don't. So I think it's a great field. I think personally, for me, going in like a clinical direction with it in terms of like working at a hospital wasn't the right fit for me. I don't know the exact percentage, but I want to say like 60-ish percentage of jobs for dietitians when they first graduate is to be in a hospital setting, which is fine. It just wasn't for me. And so I think it's important if someone is considering going the route of becoming a dietitian, realizing that it's 6 years of school, and you need to, if you want to, a lot of naysayers will tell you like, oh, you can't make any money in it, and so, which if you do the traditional clinical route, you're not gonna make a ton of money. But if you are savvy and you're business savvy or you're entrepreneurial, you can totally make a great living out of it and have that added credibility of the formal education. And you always have to keep learning because there's continuing education required to maintain your license. And so it's a great field. It's totally a great field. I would recommend it to anyone.
Who's some people that have helped you along the way that have gotten you to where you are today?
I don't know. So many people. I can't even think. And I think it's learning from mistakes, like learning from my mistakes and learning from my successes. So just a combination of everyone that I've sort of encountered, especially when I moved to Florida 5 years ago, because I didn't know anyone when I moved here, and having to sort of really open up and be willing to trust in people was the biggest thing for me.
How fulfilling is it to have, people get results with what you're recommending they do, and people looking up to you to help them with their life? Talk about how that makes you feel. It's
very fulfilling, and it's very, it's encouraging. It's inspiring too. It's inspiring to me because I never had a weight problem. I've always been able to maintain my weight, and like I have decent habits. I mean, yes, if I overdo it like this time of year, it's been a little crazy, but I've always been able to kind of maintain. But there's other challenges in my life that I've been faced with that I've had to overcome. So when I meet someone and I work with someone that loses, 50, 100 pounds, and they're basically overcoming this food addiction, so to speak, and they're changing their behaviors, and they're working so hard, like they're literally every day, they're fighting to switch their mindset. It's so rewarding, and it's so inspiring, because it's like I helped you, but you also helped me, because you made me realize, like, oh my gosh, like this little thing that I'm faced with, this challenge I'm faced with, like this was a bigger challenge for you. So it's really like you're giving, but you're also getting, and it's just this like symbiotic relationship, so to speak, and it's very fulfilling.
And once you get that feedback from them, you just want to help more people.
Exactly. And it's when I first started with like private practice, I wasn't as confident in my abilities to help people, and I was younger, I was 26, 27. I didn't have the confidence when like a 55-year-old postmenopausal woman, so to speak, would come in and she would ask my advice, and I could go off of what I learned in school, but I'm not going to have that life experience yet to talk about like the different hormonal shifts and changes and the challenges that she's going through. Now I feel, because I've worked with so many people from different ages, different stages in life, men, women, children, that I can take all of those experiences and really help so many more people. And so I think it's as we all know, it's just people get depressed about getting older, but to me, I think getting older is great because I'm learning so much more every year, and I'm becoming better at helping others.
So let's close with one more tip for anybody that's looking to get started on a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, so one of my main tips is always be gentle with yourself, but also be your biggest cheerleader. So again, be like, let's go, let's do this, but also realize like, hey, if something's not working again, as we mentioned before, tweak, reassess, tweak, and then move on.
Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.